everybody, it's me, Shaw360, and I'm doing the Disney Kpop Tag. So I was tagged by Mason, who got the idea to do the tag from Alicia, and then Katie Boo did her video, so I decided I'll do mine. And I was really flummoxed for doing this because honestly, a lot of the groups in my collection are incredibly reliable. Like, they don't change concepts a whole bunch. Their sound has stayed the same, if only slightly evolving over time. So a lot of these questions have to do with groups that made significant changes. And I didn't think I had that in my collection, but I was surprised. After spending quite a bit of time in front of my bookcase, I was able to find some answers, and I think that you guys will like them. So let's get started. Question number 1. The Little Mermaid, a K-pop album or group that is out of their element, aka fish out of water. So I picked 2PM's Go Crazy. Now, this is a strange thing altogether. So this came out, the lead single Go Crazy. It's a cool song, but this album, and I'm going to call it an album because if you look at the back, it's got 11 songs. That's not a mini. This album came out after 2PM had released Grown. Grown had Ad Toy. Ad Toy is probably my favorite K-pop song by 2PM ever. My favorite Japanese song by them is I'm Your Man. Anyway, after Grown being such a home run in my opinion, I think a lot of us were surprised by the complete tonal shift that 2PM took with this album, but not just the tonal shift, but the quality shift. Outside of the actual lead single for this album, I wouldn't recommend any song on this album. Not a one. Not a one. And, when I first listened to it, I thought it was okay. And then I listened to it a second time, and I kind of saw a couple more holes. By the 5th time I listened to this album, I'm like, this will be the last time I listen to this album. And it's just so disappointing. And I think JYP was also disappointed because the comeback after this was called Number 5, and Grown was number 4. So they're practically disavowing this album, and I don't blame them because I just think this album is crazy. But yeah, that would be my Fish Out of Water album. So let's go on to number 2. So number 2 is Cinderella, a K-pop group or artist that went through a huge transformation. And I think this is probably the best example of that in my entire collection. It is stellar. I think everything about Stellar has changed. They started out with a really cute, kind of innocent, very highly themed concept. Stellar, outer space, rocket girl costumes. Now look at them. They look totally different. But at the same time, I think they found themselves in their change. There have been a lot of people who've criticized them for the change that they've made, and a lot of people who say that they miss the old concept, but no one bought the old concept. So those people who miss the old concept, where were you when records needed to be purchased? But I actually really like their new concept. I think Stellar has a great sound, and I think that at the end of the day, that's the important thing, the sound of the music. Prime example again. This album sounds like garbage. This album sounds great, and there's a lot of people who have no problem with 2PM's image, but can admit that's a hard album to listen to and not one you should really spend your money on. This album, while you may have disagreements with the way the girls look in the video and think that they're highly sexualized, at the same time, you can't say that the music is garbage. The music is great. And it took an image transformation to get people to see what quality musical talent was there. It is kind of the same thing with Cinderella. It took a complete makeover for people to notice that the little girl sweeping the floor actually is a princess. So yeah, this meets my criterion for Cinderella. Number 3. Snow White, a K-pop group with eclectic members. I chose Super Junior. I was going to choose BTS at first because there's like 7 of them and I was totally going to name every member, but I decided to go with Super Junior because I think the personalities in Super Junior are like so wildly different. Like, you can go from one complete side of the spectrum to the other. You have super kind of introverted, quiet members, and you have like really outspoken, loud, kind of boisterous members. And in between there's a whole cadre of people. And I think that's amazing. I think it's cool that Super Junior, as they've grown up, and their personalities have emerged, for them to all be so incredibly different, but to them being so close as friends and still being able to kind of be together and be this unit. That's what I think of when I think of the Seven Dwarfs. Like, I could totally see you transplanting Super Junior into this story and having these like old weirdo men out there in the coal mine, like dancing and singing and picking at each other and mining diamonds. Like, that just, I can see Super Junior doing that. So this was my pick for Snow White. Now on to the next question. So I don't know if anybody's going to agree with my answer for this one, but the question was Sleeping Beauty, a K-pop album that puts you to sleep. And I chose EXO's Miracles in December, and this is actually the Chinese cover. When I first heard this album, I was surprised how very ballad heavy it is, and because it is so ballad heavy, it's actually quite relaxing. I picked the Chinese version because I find that the Chinese language lends itself better to the ballad form. There's not a lot of EXO albums that I could say I prefer the Mandarin to. In fact, I really can't hardly think of any, but this is definitely the one. I prefer it in Mandarin. I like to listen to it when I want to relax, and it just puts me in a very calm, soothing place. So I would say that this one for me is Sleeping Beauty because it helps relax me, it gets me in the mood to kind of wind down, and also it is a beauty. It is a beautiful little piece of packaging. If you've never watched an unboxing of this, you need to check one out. I think it's one of the neater box packagings I've ever seen for an album, SM and otherwise. So yeah, I think this is a pretty decent answer to that question. Next question, number 5. The Lion King, a K-pop group or artist that had a terrible past. And I'm extremely biased, so I'm just going to put this here and then I'm going to tell you a story. So I chose Rain. You guys know that Rain is my ultimate bias in all of K-pop, and I love Rain. I love him so much, and after developing a love for him musically and as an actor, I decided to look up his past. And looking up his past, it's absolutely heartbreaking. Rain grew up super poor. Not kind of poor, super poor. Poorer than a lot of you who are watching this video. Rain grew up in a household where food was hard to get. Clean water to drink was hard to get. He once drank a glass full of roaches. Not like a glass filled with roaches, but basically the water that he was drinking, when he looked down, there were like roach eggs in the glass. I mean, they didn't have anything. And his mother was a diabetic, and because the family had nothing, they weren't able to provide medicine for her to be able to treat her illness, and she ended up dying from her diabetes. And her last meal on this earth was ramen. Like, that's how incredibly poor Rain grew up, and he lost a parent to his poverty. And Rain didn't become a superstar overnight. He had a group called Fan Club that he debuted with. They really didn't get much traction. That was considered a failed project. And in the K-pop industry, once you've had one failure, you usually don't get a second chance. And Rain, through sheer force of will, continued to plug away as a background dancer for JYP, going to every audition JYP had. JYP would ask him to continue to dance, and he would dance for hours straight at a time, just to prove that he had the strength to do it, to get this second chance. And actually, his debut was a flop. People don't remember that, but his actual very first song was a flop. And then he had a second song that came out. It kind of gained some traction that helped bring the focus back on him. And then he came out with How to Avoid the Sun, which in my opinion is his best song ever. It's my favorite K-pop song of all time. And ever since then, a legend has been born. But he went through a lot to get to where he is today. And as much as I respect him as an actor and as an artist and as a musician, because he writes a lot of his music, he does a lot of his own choreography, I respect him even more for just the ability to pull himself out of his life circumstance. And that's why I've always said that, whatever happens with Rain from here on out, if he decides he doesn't want to give me another song, another K-drama, whatever, I'm cool with that. He's done his job. He's gotten to his goal, and I respect him immensely for it. So yes, Rain is my Lion King and king of my heart. Next, Beauty and the Beast, a beast of an album, a big album that you were intimidated by, but found the contents of it just so amazingly beautiful. So I'm going to go with something that both physically and musically, it took me a minute to conquer, but I'm really glad that I did because I can't imagine my life without it. And it's going to be this right here, IU's Modern Time Epilogue Repackaged Album number 3. So, IU, prior to the Modern Times album, was not somebody I ever wanted to listen to. I liked her in Dream High. I loved her in Dream High. I watched some of her videos around that time, and they were cute. She had a good voice, but she just really wasn't for me. And then the Red Shoes single came out from this, and I watched that video. I thought it was okay. It was a little theatrical for me. Again, I really wasn't checking for the album. But then Friday came out, and Friday was just like this perfect song. I don't even know how to describe it. It was like jazzy and poppy and folky and a little bit soulful, and it was just something that I had never heard in K-pop. I just didn't even know how to describe it. And thinking about the fact that this song was off of the repackage for the same album that had Red Shoes, I'm like, I've really got to get this album because I'm very curious, like, what kind of album can have these two different styles together? So, Yes Asia had a sale on this album, which is why I got the huge one. And once I got it, I was like, wow, this is absolutely amazing, both musically and packaging wise. It's crazy good. So it comes with this slipcase here. Well, it's not a slipcase. It's like a magnet closure, I believe. I'm trying to remember how to open this because it's been a minute. Yeah, magnet closure. Here you go. There's that. And then there's this. And then there's a really heavy booklet. And then there's also the CD tray with the DVD. And there's the photo packet. And it's really gorgeous and really nice. And I am not going to do an unboxing of this on this channel because I really don't have the time in this tag video. But definitely, it changed my mind a lot about IU. It made me really respect her for the artist that she is because she writes a lot of her own music. She had some really cool guest features. Shiny, Jonghyun from SHINee is on here, and he wrote a really cool song called Gloomy Clock. And I'm glad that I conquered not necessarily my fear, but maybe my bias towards IU. I got past the image and I got into the music, and I'm a fan. I am a fan now. Like, I love IU now. I bought Chatshire. That's a great album as well. You should check it out. But yeah, IU. This album changed everything. All right, on to the next one. So number 7 is Aladdin, a K-pop album that granted your wish for better or for worse. And man, I hate that this is my answer for this one because it said for better or for worse. I choose the worst option, and it is In Black's Mirror. This is an album that when it was announced that it was going to come out, I was grateful. I was grateful that it came out because when Ijun and Thunder left In Black, I didn't know how we were going to make it. I did not see them having a comeback anytime soon. I didn't know what kind of music they would have. I didn't know what their sound was going to be like. I just wanted them to be able to survive. That was my hope, is that they'll be able to survive. And then it was announced that they had an album coming out. And I'm like, yes, it's really happening. My wish is coming true. We got an album. And yeah, we got an album, all right. We got Mirror. And Mirror was like every nightmare that you would have for your group coming out, all rolled into one terribly packed album. Oh my gosh, just even thinking about it all now makes me want to cry. So they come out with a ballad, which I didn't think was a great choice, but it is what it is. They come out with a ballad as their lead single, and the ballad sounds just like every other ballad they've released pretty much. Like, it's nothing new. It's definitely not exciting. It's not a ballad like Error. Like Error is a ballad, but it's also like a really catchy ballad kind of. This is not that. And it's not like Cry, which is another really catchy ballad. This is not that. This is like one of those middle of the road filler tracks from somebody else's album as their lead single. Time to promote, and Gio loses his voice. He can't sing. They can't promote this damn album. and it just tanks. It just tanks, and the packaging is crazy. It's got this weird kind of like envelope thing going that I almost broke trying to get it out, and then there's the photo book, and then that's where the CD would normally be. But yeah, it was what I wanted. It was what I had asked for. I asked for a comeback, but I just wanted better. I wanted better, and chances are this is the last In Black album I'll ever get, which makes it even sadder to me because, like I said, I love In Black. But at this point, Gio's going to the military. Sungo and Mir cannot be In Black. Those two cannot be In Black. And I'm not saying that because I dislike them. It's just they can't. Those two can't be In Black. They would be like, it would be one rapper and one singer because Mir's not really a singer, so they can't be In Black. You need more than one singer at least to be In Black. You need Gio. So yeah, for better or for worse, it answered my wish, but I feel like it's for the worst. Next, number 8, Mulan, a K-pop group or artist who pretends to be something they're not. And this one, I knew right away that I was going to pick this one. This was one of the only ones on here that I knew for a fact I had an answer for. And it is this album right here, Mono Scandal by U-Kiss. We were all shocked when the Don't Tease video came out because we had never seen U-Kiss like that. Like, it was just sexual and kind of dirty and, very suggestive. And poor Kevin. I mean, he who I don't think has ever touched a woman like that before was forced to just like really lay hands on a lady. And it was just awkward. It was awkward. It was a cool song. It had some sexy moments. It had a threesome. But it was just like, dude, what's going on here? And then you get the photo book. And the photo book is also like filled with, this stuff. And I'm not saying that I don't like this. It's just like, no, this isn't U-Kiss. This isn't U-Kiss. But, I guess it is, especially, look at Kevin. Where's Kevin's clothes? What happened? So, yeah, this is not U-Kiss to me. This is not what I came here for. Don't get me wrong. If this was real life and I walked into a bedroom and that's what was, I'd be like, whoa, daddy. But as a group, I just felt like it felt desperate to me. Like, it felt like we were really trying to get your attention. And I don't know. To me, it was like a sign that things just aren't going right. And then, afterwards, Eli and his whole I'm married and having a baby revelation. It hasn't been the same for U-Kiss since. Not that things were just going so great before this album came out, but I felt like this is one of those last gasp efforts to try to get people interested in the group. And yeah, this is not who you are, U-Kiss. This is not who you are. So we have number 9, Toy Story, a K-pop group or artist you wish you could see live. Like, I don't even know why this question is here, honestly, because I think you all know exactly who I was going to pick, but just in case you don't, these dorks. That's who I want to see. I want to see those guys. Why do I want to see those guys? Because they're my ultimate bias group, duh. I really want to see them. And they're coming to Chicago in May. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to get there, but if the Lord sees fit, I'm going to find my way there. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just going to be real with you guys. I don't think it's going to happen. But my heart wants it. I just want to be able to breathe the air in America one day and know that they are standing on the same land space that I'm standing on. To think that we're standing on the same mass of land. Wow. Oh, man. And in case you want to know how, like, I feel, like, if my heart could sing and just speak to you, I'll put a video down below from Miss Deja Vu's channel and her reaction to Shiny in Chicago. But yes, if I could move heaven and earth and calm the seas and walk on water, I would see Shiny live. But these are all things outside of my mortal grasp, so I can't do them. But yes, if I could see anybody live, anybody, I don't think it's a question that Shawwall 360 wants to see Shiny. Duh. And lastly, Disney Descendants, number 10, your favorite K-pop group or artist that is really good at playing evil characters. I think this might be everybody's answer, to tell you the truth. It would be VIXX. I don't know how they managed to do this, but VIXX managed to get popular doing dark concepts. And I say I don't know how they did that because I can't think of another group that consistently does dark concepts the way that VIXX does that's like super popular. There's a lot of groups out there that are kind of on the fringe that tend to do darker concepts. Like you have My Name, Cross Gene, I'm trying to think, The Legend a little bit, JJCC. These are groups that tend to have kind of a more serious concept when they come out. I don't know these groups very well, so I'm sure their fans are like, you're wrong, they do cutie stuff. But I'm just saying, like, there's not a lot of groups that tend to be as dark as VIXX and have like big popularity. But VIXX is one of those groups that every time we hear that there's a comeback, we're all like, what villain are they going to play now? What character are they going to be this time? Like, we all want it. The fact that they came back this last time with a 50 Shades of Grey concept, like, what other group could do that? I don't even know. Like, I definitely know that if SHINee came back with a 50 Shades Grey concept, no, SM's not having that. SM tried it with the Japanese version of Lucifer, but they're not doing that now. So that's why I'm just saying, like, I don't know why it is that this is their blessing, but they really are the group I think of when I think a dark concept. And they do it flawlessly. And it's also really funny to me because when I think of the actual individual members, they don't seem like dark people. Like, they don't seem like, people who sit around, lighting lighters and have candles all around and, listening to crazy goth music or something. Like, that's not who I see them as. I see them as like chipper, fun young guys, but when you look at their concepts and you look at the ones that have succeeded and the ones that have not, the dark concept is them. So this was just a natural answer for this question. And that brings me to the end of this tag. Thank you so much for watching, and special shouts out to K-Pop Terry. The Stellar album I showed you earlier, I actually got that from K-Pop Terry as a surprise gift. And, oh, man, I felt so bad when I got it because I had actually ordered that album from M-Wave. So, yeah, I'll have a duplicate, but I'm still really grateful to her because this got to me first. I actually haven't had a chance to look through the photo book before she gave it to me. I tried to avoid other people's unboxings if I could. But, yeah, thank you so much, K-Pop Terry. Thank you to Mason who tagged me, and thank you guys again for watching. Also, on my other tag video, the If You tag, the deadline for posting the link to your video is the 31st of March. So if you did the If You tag and you want to be considered for the giveaway for the photo card book, you definitely need to put your link in the comments section. I know a lot of people did it, and I had a couple of people that hit me up on Google+, but I need you to put the link to your video in the comments section in order for you to be considered for the giveaway drawing for that photo card album. Alright, so thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. You might not have. I feel like I skipped around a lot, but I will see you on the next video. Bye!